All right, so we're going to get started. I'm Rhonda Weathers. I'm the Executive Director of SOS Community Services here in Ypsilanti and serving all of Washtenaw County. The session is being recorded and will be sent out after the meeting. So if you missed part of it, you'll be able to pick that up when it comes out. We wanted to start by thanking all of you for attending today. Thank you for keeping local families who are facing homelessness and hunger on your mind and in your heart. I know many important things compete for your time and attention, so it means a lot to me that you took the time to tune in today and receive an update on how families who need food and housing have fared this winter in our county. It takes a lot of people who care to make real change, and I'm so glad that you're on board with me and all of us here at SOS as we make a better future for families at risk. I'm going to start with an update about SOS's Family Resource Center. Our Resource Center includes our food program, our resource navigation services, and our Parents as Teachers program. As I mentioned in my last town hall meeting last fall, our Resource Center was recently cut $110,000 in funding from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, which cut funding for all family resource centers around the state. These funds help to pay for our Parents as Teachers program, our food pantry, our resource navigation, and additional distribution of high demand items like diapers, formula, and laundry soap. SOS is seeking grant funds to continue and expand this program. We are working with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to try to recapture these funds in the next budgeting cycle, which will come about this summer. These cuts come at a time when demand for Family Resource Center services has surged. In 2025, SOS provided 3,024 people with utility assistance, baby food, diapers, and other resources through the Family Resource Center, which was up from the 1,995 which were served in 2024. And that's a 52% increase. So we're seeing a huge demand for Family Resource Center services. We're also seeing a huge demand in our food pantry. Demand is up at our food pantry. In 2025, SOS fed 15,281 people through the food pantry compared to 10,398 the year before, constitutes a 47% increase in demand for services. In the wake of the SNAP benefits pause last fall, more people are returning to SOS's food pantry after not having used it for many years or using a pantry for the first time. At SOS, we extended our food distribution hours to address the increased demand. Now we distribute food from 1 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. Our wonderful partner, Food Gatherers, has brought us more food to distribute. In addition, during the holiday season, SOS received an overwhelming amount of support from you and other community members with food donations, volunteerism, and financial contributions. It was amazing to see how many people mobilized and stepped up to fill the need for food in our community. Thank you for making sure that nobody had to go hungry during the holiday season. One woman recently told us that the diapers, food, and cleaning supplies that she's gotten at SOS have been a huge help for them in the past few months. A few months ago, she and her husband took in family members that were homeless. It means that they have many more mouths to feed and expenses to handle. At the same time, their food stamps amount actually went down by a few $100s per month. It is hard to stretch it to take care of everyone in the home. They said that being able to come to SOS where people treat you nicely and help fill in the gaps for things that you need is such a huge lifesaver right now. SOS's Parents as Teachers program provides home visiting to parents with children younger than age 5 to support them as their child's first teacher. They offer developmental screenings, referrals, and support with discipline, child development, promoting attachment, and other topics. This research-based program prevents child abuse and neglect and promotes kindergarten readiness for at-risk kids. This program is currently serving 48 families in Washtenaw and Western Wayne County, including 66 enrolled children. You know, children are the least visible and most vulnerable victims of homelessness and housing instability. As parents struggle daily to meet basic needs, they lack the time and resources to support the learning, growth, and development of their children. SOS's Parents as Teachers program sustained a cut of $71,000 in grant funding through our partnership with the Washtenaw Intermediate School District. The source of these funds was the State of Michigan School Aid Act 32P funding. These funds were cut in the state budget passed last year, so it wasn't just our program, but 32P programs across the state. We were able to maintain services through using some carryover funds from the previous year and an additional award from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Around the state of Michigan, 21 of the 30 programs, Parents as Teachers programs, that existed in 2025 closed in 2026. Thanks to you and other generous supporters, SOS's Parents as Teachers program is still operating. Thank you for sticking by children who are vulnerable and who need consistent, uninterrupted support to maximize the opportunity for growth and learning that exists between birth and age 5. You know, before the pandemic, Washtenaw County would have 25 to 35 families on the waiting list for emergency shelter. Since the pandemic, the waiting list for family shelter has exceeded 100 families consistently. Families may stay on the wait list 6 months or more, living in their car or some other place not meant for human habitation. SOS in our shelter program master leases single-family homes in Ypsilanti and Ann Arbor to provide shelter to families. Each home shelters one family at a time. The homes are operated in what we call a scattered site model. They help families avoid the stigma they feel living in a congregate shelter. And you know, often the children don't even know that they're in a shelter. They just think that they're in another house for a while. This model also allows multi-generational families to shelter together. In 2023, I joined the County Winter Shelter Task Force to try to find solutions to upsize shelter options for families, especially during the severest weather months and especially in Ypsilanti. The task force includes representatives from the Shelter Association of Washtenaw County, IHN at Alpha House, Community Mental Health, a few other agencies, as well as county officials. Thanks to the work of this task force, we've been able to increase shelter units for families this winter from 12 units last winter to 50 units countywide now. The Interfaith Hospitality Network added 30 units of congregate shelter on the St. Joe's campus and can accept emergency walk-ins at their Jackson Road location if families have nowhere else to go and the weather is bad. SOS added 13 units of scattered site housing-based shelter using our master leasing model. This increase is well-timed given recent government funding cuts impacting families who live paycheck to paycheck. The new shelter units will help us better serve the family shelter wait list. With current inventory, SOS shelters will total 20 units. These are all 3-bedroom homes located in our communities. SOS's Rapid Rehousing Program provides rental assistance and case management to help a family develop the capacity to pay their rent on their own and maintain permanent housing long term. Unlike shelter, in rapid rehousing, the parent is the leaseholder. Also, families stay in rapid rehousing longer than in shelter, usually about a year compared to 120 days in shelter. Most families who leave rapid rehousing at SOS are able to maintain their housing independently and do not fall back into the shelter system. Our rapid rehousing program sustained a cut from the Department of Housing and Urban Development back in October of 2025. That cut amounted to $726,000. The funding cut resulted in the loss of 40 units of rapid rehousing for families who are homeless in our county. In the past, some rapid rehousing units were offered by SOS and some by IHN at Alpha House. However, now SOS is the only provider of rapid rehousing for families as IHN is focusing on their shelter expansion. What will happen to HUD funding for homeless families starting in October of 2026? Well, it remains to be seen. HUD released a notice of funds available for next fiscal year, but the notice included many problematic provisions. State governments, including Michigan, sued HUD for the new NOFO. And as the courts consider the legality of that notice of funds available, HUD-funded agencies around the country, including SOS, are not yet able to apply for funding for next year. Current estimates suggest a new notice of funding availability may be available late summer of this year. Our current grant ends at the end of September. With HUD funds to house homeless families in jeopardy, it is helpful that the state of Michigan has expanded funding for family shelter. However, it is important to keep in mind that shelter is temporary housing lasting only 4 months. Rapid rehousing lasts around 12 months and gives families time to build capacity to maintain their housing on their own long term. More families with children faced homelessness in Washtenaw County in 2025 compared to 2024. In 2025, SOS prevented homelessness for 514 households with one-time rental assistance, including 622 adults and 617 children. In 2025, we diverted 58 households from our shelter system. These families included 76 adults and 120 children. They were living outside or in a place not meant for habitation, like a car. SOS gave them financial assistance to return to housing quickly and avoid shelter. In 2025, SOS also completed shelter assessments for 356 families, including 420 adults and 754 children. These families were homeless and were not able to participate successfully in shelter diversion. Between shelter diversion and shelter assessments, SOS served more than 870 homeless children in 2025. When you add in the number of children that were served in our rapid rehousing program, which totaled 261, and the number served in our shelter program, which totaled 136 for an additional 397, you'll see that we served over 1,000 homeless children in the past year. However, the rising cost of living has been devastating for children and their families. The rising cost of housing, food, and gas take a tremendous toll on families who are living paycheck to paycheck. The loss of Affordable Care Act subsidies has increased the cost of health care for everyone. Next year, deep Medicaid cuts are expected, which should impact more children. Immigrants are afraid to seek services in person at SOS. Caseworkers have brought food and other basic needs to their homes to help them get through this time. SOS's children's and housing services are provided in families' homes, which is helpful. More people are camping in downtown Ypsilanti than ever before. They are using SOS's resource center to warm up, eat, charge their phones, and get help to find tents, coats, and other warm clothes. They talk about the hardships of living outside in cold weather, socks that get too wet to wear and shoes that never dry, food and water that freeze or get eaten by wild animals, other people stealing their belongings. SOS is responding with specific items that these households need: pop-top canned food, warm socks, gloves, and Empower coats that double as sleeping bags, collapsible wagons so that they can use to transport their tents, propane, and other gear. Although their suffering is enormous, I'm glad that they can find help day to day at SOS. Because of you, other supporters, and volunteers, they will always have somewhere to go to get help and access resources. SOS is going to be there for them because you are here for SOS. So what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to monitor the situation with the HUD NOFA and apply when the application is open again. We're going to collaborate with our local partners to serve as many people as possible by pooling resources and mobilizing community supporters. I've been participating in a special Continuum of Care subcommittee to seek support for services should HUD make drastic cuts to the local renewal, which are anticipated. We approached the Washtenaw Board of Commissioners and other funders for the possibility of funding should this possibility become reality. The BOC recently allocated $432,000 to address a gap in HUD funding, which results from the federal lawsuits opposing the HUD funding priorities. Thank you so much for helping us to get through this uncertain time in HUD funding. The SOS Board of Directors has created and will follow through on future contingency plans should more government shutdowns occur or further cuts to HUD funding for rapid rehousing. I will also strive to keep you and other stakeholders informed on the ways that you can help as advocates, volunteers, and supporters. So what can you do? I count on and appreciate your continued advocacy for SOS's families, especially for your support of affordable housing. Thank you to everyone who has organized a drive for SOS families in the last year. Please consider undertaking a drive in 2026 as well. We especially need drives for diapers and food in the spring and summer, since fewer people donate at those times of year. If you want to make a donation to support SOS, you can visit soscs.org to make your gift. You can also sign up for our e-newsletter on our website to stay informed on ways that you can help. You can apply to be a volunteer at SOS on our website as well. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Please unmute to ask your question or enter your question in the chat. Any questions?
Hey, Rhonda, this is Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
Do you have, is there a particular size diaper that if we did a drive that you need more than others?
Yeah, we need the larger sizes. We get a lot of the newborns and ones and twos. It's really the 4s and 5s and 6s that are we run out of the most.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Sharon.
I have another question. You have a lot of your clients who are on Medicaid, correct?
Correct. Many of the children are on Medicaid, even
So
if parents are not.
this new effort to have people reapplies, period. Is it twice a year that they have to do that?
Yep, that's what's being proposed.
So is there assistance for the families to learn people to know how to do that? Because it seems like it's created to have people fail so that they can not be kicked off.
It does seem like that, doesn't it? We are having our workers trained in how to help people through that process. Certainly, a lot of our children's workers are involved in helping families understand that from the child's perspective in terms of getting their children through that hurdle. We also have some people at our resource center, specifically our resource specialist, who is able to assist people with that and help them go on to MI Bridges, which is the MDHHS site, to help them complete the necessary paperwork.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Other questions?
Rhonda, there's a couple questions in the chat. The first one is asking about data regarding numbers of older adults served by SOS.
The primary access point that most people who are in the older adult category access our services is through our food pantry. We're seeing a slight increase in the number of people that are coming through our housing system, but because we primarily serve families with children, our average age range is from 25 to about 40 in that those categories in shelter and rapid rehousing. And of course, in our children's programs, again, we don't have a high number, although we do have some multi-generational families who have an older adult in their household as well. But for the most part, people in that age category are coming through our food program. And so we do track that, but we don't serve as many as might be served elsewhere in the community. We do offer a program called Focus Hope, which is government subsidized food boxes for people who are older and even people who might be homebound. And so we do track that data, and we also offer a service where we can take the Focus Hope box out to a person's house, much like Meals on Wheels would provide in-home service. But we do it only with those Focus Hope boxes. Other questions? Tammy, did you have another question from the chat?
There's only one asking about a partnership between the city and SOS, and Barbara is going to schedule a meeting regarding
Great.
that.
Wonderful.
If anybody else would like to schedule a meeting to discuss how your organization or company can partner best with SOS, it would be wonderful to meet, that we can learn more about your interests and you can learn more about our needs.
There's another question in the chat. Are there resources available to help speak to legislators to help advocate for funding cut to those mechanisms you spoke about?
We do have some resources for that, and I would love to meet with you to discuss the resources and help you strategize around such a meeting. Yeah, we've been making more inroads with some of our local and state legislators, and we're very excited about the pathways that can take us down. So I'd love to talk with you about that.
Thanks. I'll reach out to you directly. Sorry, I put things in the chat because my internet's being wonky, but
That's all right. I would love to meet with you. And Barbara's email in her last comment is wrong. It's BARBARAC at SOS.
Autocorrect.
She's not barbaric, but some good questions. Other questions? We try to keep these things brief so we don't take up all of your lunch period. Do we mainly service Ypsilanti? We are located in Ypsilanti because this is the area of greatest need in our county, but we service all of Washtenaw County. Most of our food participants, for instance, come from 48197, 48198 area codes. And nearly all of our housing units are located on the eastern side of the county, but we do have some shelter units in the Ann Arbor area as well. We will seek rapid rehousing units wherever the family identifies that they would like to be. If they want to continue housing or school for their children in a certain district, then we try to make that happen for them. So primarily we are in Ypsilanti. That's where our physical sites are located, but we serve all of Washtenaw County. And are there other organizations like SOS in Ann Arbor? You know, our peer organizations over there, there's not one that I think addresses the breadth of service that SOS does in terms of, you know, we have an on-site food pantry, we have children's services, we have a family resource center. We're the only one in the county that has a family resource center. We are one of the largest food pantries in the county that Food Gatherers supports. And we are one of the largest family housing providers in the county as well. There are others like IHN at Alpha House, and there's also Avalon Housing, which has a lot of permanent supportive housing, but perhaps not as many of the other services that we offer. So the length of time that clients are in the program is a question in the chat. For our shelter program, people are allowed to stay 120 days. For our rapid rehousing program, people are able to stay 1 year and they can get some extensions beyond that. For our children's programs, people can be in there for up to 5 years, depending on the family's needs. For our food program, you can come an indefinite amount of time. You can go through our full pantry, which includes meats and dairies and stuff like that, 12 times per year. But otherwise, you can access fresh fruits and vegetables on a weekly basis. Yeah, any other questions? It's nice to see everybody's face again. Oh, thank you, Monica. And thank you all for being here today and learning more about the services that SOS provides, learning more about what are some of the challenges that are facing all service providers in our community right now. We like to do these things, a couple times a year, just to keep you guys in the loop as to how things are changing in the human services world. So I hope to see you again in the future. But in the meantime, thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate it. Thanks, Amy, Emily. All right, go enjoy the warm weather.
Mhm.